According to numerous reports, the Dallas Cowboys are not going to draft Ashton Jeanty. That's at least what you're hearing from people that want to make a splash. How do they know? Has Jerry said I'm not drafting Ashton Jeanty? Or are Mickey Mouse reporters and Mickey Mouse news aggregates trying to make news in waves where there are none? I don't buy it. This is a quote from me. I do not buy these reports. Quote, end quote, Smitty. And I'll tell you why. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now. Don't listen to everything you hear during smoke season. Don't believe everything you read. Let's go over it right now. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Live whenever news breaks. Live whenever it's 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, and live most midnights. It's midnight right now. It's 5 minutes past midnight, and here we are live, like we do so many graveyard and after-hour shows. Here's the thing. There are several reasons why the Dallas Cowboys would put off the drafting of Ashton Jeanty. Number one, they want to go after one of the second-round running backs. You've got Hampton. You've got Judkins. You've got Henderson. You've got a plethora of great running backs, and they're all really good. But here's what people are trying to connect dots on, and it doesn't make any sense because they're guessing. It's guesswork. It's people trying to make a splash. How many people are going to give you views or clicks or comments or retweets if you say, Cowboys don't appear interested in Ashton Jeanty, according to Trust Me Bro? Because they don't set up a meeting yet, because they don't set up a top 30 meeting. He's already said publicly, I would love to play for the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are his preferred landing spot. I'm not sitting here telling you the Cowboys will draft Ashton Jeanty. I'm telling you, don't listen to every report that tells you it's not a possibility. The Dallas Cowboys are certainly going to have to weigh out, do they even think a guy like Hampton can fall to round two? Probably won't. Hampton's probably going to go inside the top 22 to 32. Hampton improved his stock tremendously at the combine. Hampton and Henderson and Judkins and literally a plethora of these guys have tremendous value. Go watch the rookie running back video where I rank the top 5 guys. Scatterboo in round 2 is a great player to draft for the Dallas Cowboys. Hampton probably won't fall to the Cowboys' second round pick, though. If anybody's thinking, oh, their plan is to go get Hampton, Hampton's not falling there. So you're either taking Jeanty or Hampton at 12, or you're moving down in the first round to take Hampton, or you're maybe going after Scatterboo, Judkins, Henderson, and you get lucky. That is all in the realm of possibility. The Dallas Cowboys, who hold the number 12 overall pick, could very well go in the direction of grabbing a running back in the second round. I am not telling you they won't consider that. I'm just telling you they haven't ruled out, especially publicly, that they're going after Ashton Jeanty. Now, in fairness to Jerry Jones's demise and inaccuracies in putting his foot in his mouth and making stupid decisions and all of those things that frustrate us so much as football fans, as fantasy football owners, and I'm sure as Dallas Cowboy fans. This team and Jerry were told by Derrick Henry that he wanted to play football for the Dallas Cowboys. Derrick Henry's preferred landing spot wasn't Baltimore. It was the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry didn't even pick up the phone and call him and say, hey, Derrick, I'm going to talk about it a little bit before I reject you. He didn't even call him. So I'm not telling you Jerry's for sure drafting Jeanty. I'm merely telling you this report I don't buy. The reports before that, I don't buy. Anybody suggesting that the Cowboys are going in a different direction, and that's been decided now, that's wild to me. The Cowboys haven't even met with them, watched them perform, and just because they don't set up a date with them right now doesn't mean they won't. Not to mention, if he already wants Dallas to be his preferred landing spot, they can use those interviews for other players. People don't use their brain. They don't use their brain at all when it comes to this stuff. There's lots of strategic reasons to not even meet with them publicly in that grand scheme picture where everybody's watching you, the spotlight's on you. Oh, the Dallas Cowboys are meeting with Jen. This is strategy potentially at play. Not saying it is, but potentially is at play. What I do know for certainty is that they're not done with Ashton Jeanty. They're going to explore this thing. They're going to watch him. He's going to perform at Dallas or the Boise State Pro Day or both of them. There's opportunity for Jeanty to sit down with the Dallas Cowboys at some point. It's not all decided now. So what happens if the report comes that Dallas is going to meet with him? Then what? What happens to these reports? What happens to the Trust Me Bro source that fed this piece of news? And even in this report that was wrapped up by NBC Sports, and the writer that cited this report said that fantasy owners better start looking in a different direction for the running back that could land in Dallas. How are we drawing conclusions about this already? It makes no sense at all. No one says that he's going to be a Cowboy, but no one should be saying that he won't be. It's ridiculous. Now, where do I think he goes if he doesn't go to the Dallas Cowboys? It becomes hard to predict because you look at the top 15 overall, the top 18, there's no way he's available by anything past this, 18 pick. And the teams here that are drafting don't necessarily need him. So a team would be trading into one of these picks to probably grab him if for any reason he keeps slipping. The Niners are not a team that you can rule out for drafting Jeanty at 11. You can say till you're blue in the face, Smitty, the Niners need offensive line. They're not going to take Ashton Jeanty at 11. You don't know that. You may think you know that. You may be speaking from a place of logic in your brain and in your heart, but you don't know that. This is the same coach and GM. Let me remind you, this was the first draft last offseason that the Niners drafted without Adam Peters. I love when people come in here and they don't know what they're saying, and they say, Smitty, Niners are always really good about these late gem grabs. They'll be fine with the Deebo Samuel trade. They'll take that late pick, and they always do this, Smitty. They did always do it. You know who was responsible for identifying George Kittle, Brock Purdy, all these players that you think the Niners are so good at finding? Adam Peters. He is now in Washington. He's now in Washington where he drafted Ben Sinnott, who's quietly sleeping right now. He drafted JD5, who your boy and Adam Peters told you was the best quarterback in this entire draft class and maybe the best quarterback in the National Football League right now. Better than anybody. Maybe better than Josh Allen. Maybe better than Mahomes and everybody right now. JD5 is cooking. JD5 is becoming that guy right now. Right now.
He's a 5. JD5 is the only 5. JD5 is him, and now all can see. He graduated from Himothy University.
So let's not pretend that the team, the 49ers, who drafted Ricky Pearsall, a second-round player, before Ladd McConkey, they drafted Ricky Pearsall before Ladd McConkey. Before you start saying, but Ricky's pretty good, Smitty. He might be a pretty good pick after all. Right? Wrong. I'm not saying Ricky can't be good.
Wrong. Muy mal.
But you're never going to be able to justify picking him over Ladd McConkey. You're never going to be able to justify. It doesn't matter how good he is. It's a bad pick. He's a second-round pick. He should have been drafted in round 1. You shouldn't have taken a wide receiver in round 1 when you couldn't even use him. So you're telling me the Niners are not going to take Jeanty at 11? They could. They absolutely could. Chicago Bears could take Jeanty at 10. Smitty, they need offensive line. Same thing I'm hearing from Niner fans. Niner fans and Bears fans, get a grip. Your teams might not address the offensive line like they should. The Bears, what did the Bears do last offseason under Ryan Poles' command? Oh, they took a receiver. They took a receiver in the top 15 when they didn't have offensive line, and they had an offensive coordinator that only knew how to run 2 wide receiver sets. You couldn't use a Dunze, and a Dunze was drafted. Niners couldn't use Ricky Pearsall. Pearsall was drafted. The Bears and the Niners are very big threats to take Ashton Jeanty. I say threats because I don't want him to go there as the first choice of landing spot, especially the Niners, where you've got this crowded backfield. Niner fans think it's a great thing. Bring Jeanty in. Fantasy worlds, and really even NFL worlds, people that enjoy football. Just not even fantasy, but people are like, I enjoy good football. No one wants to see Jeanty land in a Niner uniform. So the Raiders at 6 better smarten up. Go get Justin Fields now. As soon as you possibly can. Go get Sam Darnold now. Go trade for Joe Milton now. Use your picks smartly and wisely on the best running back prospect that's come out of college since Barry Sanders and maybe Saquon Barkley. This is a player that you need to go get. And teams need to get active and aggressive and go get it. If Jerry Jones misses the boat here, I'll be extremely disappointed. I won't be shocked, but I'll be extremely disappointed. $50 holler for my boy Daniel. Daniel.
$50. Give me $50 holler. Like that by the brother Smitty.
Daniel, appreciate you, my boy. Jackson Dart goes top 15. Put it on the board, Smitty. He wants his $50 bold prediction.
$50. Give me $50 holler. Like that by the brother Smitty. Give me $50. Oh, yeah.
Daniel, appreciate you. Daniel says, Daniel Hart says, $50, Jackson Dart, top 15 pick. Okay. Which I think is bold. I think it's bold enough that you'll be the first person to land if he does end up going. So, Dart, top 15. And this is what's today's date? The 5th? 4th? Still the 4th on my clock. 3-4, Daniel Hart. Dart is a top 15 pick. You'll be the first person to land one of the $50 hauler predictions, and you'll be sitting there in the lead all year long if that does come true. That's pretty bold. That's pretty bold. I don't know if it's bolder than like some of them if they land, but we had like 5 people land their predictions, so it's a pretty decent bet. You're doing a good mix of possibility of happening and it's still being bold enough. Milroe, Dart, one of those guys is going earlier than I think people anticipate. All 4 could go in round 1 of the quarterbacks, Dart and Milroe being the 3rd and 4th, but likelihood maybe 3 go, but there could be all 4. Milroe, Dart, both are really, really solid number 3 choices, like behind Sanders and Cam Ward. I don't know what to tell you other than I also owe you a set, don't I?
$50. Give me $50 holler.
$50 holler.
Let him cook.
Smitty, what are you lifting on? Oh, well, every time someone drops a $20 holler, your boy pops out the core board. 10% discount if you use code Smitty. What's the link to go get it? Let me drop that in the live chat here. Stoic Innovations is the website. There it is right there. I dropped it. StoicInnovations.com. The core board. All you need to get fit. And I'm on a 60-day challenge with them. And they'll give away a core board for free. But go get yours now. 10% off using code Smitty. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate you. So, where's Jeanty go? God, I feel like it's going to be the Bears. The Bears isn't the worst landing spot. Let me just say that. I mean, Swift had a good year. You know, the offense will be a little better this year under Ben Johnson. I like Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson brought us Gibbs and Monty, and I know that they'll want to run the ball, but at the same time, it's like there's no offensive line there, and especially if they use the pick on Jeanty, the offensive line beefing it up is going to be a little less effective because they won't be using that high-end top 10 overall player that you know, at the position. They could get Banks, they could get one of the top offensive linemen with that 10 pick. So hopefully they go after a running back in the second round. Here are the rookie running backs. My number one, clear as day, is Jeanty. My number two is a mixture of Henderson, Hampton, Scattaboo. Henderson, good pro day, looked solid. More importantly, his film pops. This is my second favorite running back. Hampton had an excellent pro day. Again, some of you, I misspoke and said something. I was trying to say Caleb Johnson. I said he had a bad day, and everyone was coming from our two people were coming from my neck in the comments like, Smitty, Hampton did good. What are you talking about? I didn't mean to say Hampton. I'm sorry I misspoke. Sometimes I misspeak because I'm going so fast. I'm doing 2 and 3 hour shows. Hampton had a good pro day. He had a great pro day. He had a really solid pro day. Fantastic pro day. So he improved his stock. He reminds me a lot of like JT. He wears the 28 as well, so it's like it kind of reminds you of JT anyway. But he plays like JT. Plays hard, plays aggressive. Put him in a good spot. Hampton goes to the moon. You know, the landing spot's going to make one of these guys. He's already a Mars man. He's already a moon man. Or maybe they're both moon men. No, Mars man, moon man, I forget. It might be both moon men at this point. Let me go check. Let's go check.
The moon men. Dropping
I moved them all on the moon man list because they're rookies. If Hampton lands in
Space Monsters,
LV, if Hampton lands in Dallas, if Hampton lands in Cleveland, if Hampton lands in any of those locations and others, he goes to the Mars man list. Like, there's no way Hampton, with his skill set, won't go straight to one of those bold prediction lists. He's going to be unbelievable if he lands in a good spot, and he probably will because his stock is going up. Especially, it doesn't matter what we think, it matters what the teams think. And if the teams are starting to speak as if he's a 20 to 32 overall pick, then Hampton's going to go to a glorious spot because no one's spending first-round draft capital on a running back they don't plan on working like a workhorse. So situation should be beautiful for him no matter almost no matter what. He could almost fall into a better spot than Jeanty maybe. Hopefully Jeanty goes to the right location, but this is a tough running back like bucket to rank. Henderson, Hampton, Scattaboo, Judkins, and even these guys are still very solid. Like Sampson's my dark horse, but teams aren't looking at him quite the same. But these four guys, Judkins could go number 2. He could easily be the second ranked running back across the board if he lands, let's say, in Dallas. And let's say Hampton goes somewhere kind of cloudy. Let's say Scattaboo goes to Cleveland and the rest of these guys go to pretty decent spots, but he's in Cleveland. Then he becomes the number 2. If Henderson goes to LV and they're all in crazy situations, then he goes to number 2. If Hampton goes to Cleveland and Henderson goes to Washington to be a commander and Scattaboo goes to LV and Judkins goes to Minnesota, you know, where it's quietly a pretty good spot, really, at the end of the day, even if they bring Aaron Jones back, then we got a handful of great running backs, and we're going to be debating this left and right. The truth is, stud, potential stud in the right spot. Think Arian Foster, not as good as Latainian Tomlinson, Marshall Faulk, Priest Holmes, but Arian Foster was as good because of the situation. Situation can be king, and I'm not saying he's not good. He's a really good running back. But I do have these guys slightly ahead in terms of skill set. But you put him in the number 1 spot. If he's in Cleveland and they're all in trash situations, which they won't be, at least 1 or 2 won't. But if he was in Cleveland and they were in trash situations, he'd be running back 2 in this draft class. Understand, situation is a kingmaker with this bucket of non-Jeanty running backs. It's just the nature of what we're dealing with. And I'm usually one that doesn't love to go in that direction where we say, let's let landing spot dictate what we're going to do. I rank no matter what. I talk about it no matter what. I insinuate where I'm leaning no matter what. I don't leave. These are all of my thefantasyfootballshow.com rankings. You'll find them all there right now. And they're all there, and they'll be adjusted and moved around and massaged. The rankings will be changed once we have landing spots. But I'm not afraid to talk about it before it happens. I'm not afraid to have the conversation. Stud. Potential stud. Absolute stud. This is a good class. Very underrated running back class. Dare I say, this could be similar to the wide receiver class last year in terms of how you, in retrospect, go, damn, that was good. Because we loved BT. We all did. But no one knew BT would be wide receiver 4. So BT, Marvin Harrison, still tons of upside. Neighbors, that wide receiver class in hindsight, in retrospect, was so much better than anybody even dreamed of. And I think this running back class is going to feed the running back stable and put at least 2 running backs into the top 10 of our running back dynasty fantasy football player pool. And it's going to put maybe 1 or 2 additionally in the next 8. So we might have 4 running backs from this class infect in a very good way the top 18 overall running backs for the future. 2 of which could be top 10. 1 of which could be 1 to 5. 2 of which could both be 1 to 7. Jeanty could be 1 to 5, and maybe Hampton's 2 to 5, 2 to 6. Maybe 2 to 7. Maybe 3 to 7. Maybe 4 to 7. Maybe Scadaboo's 7 to 12. Maybe it's Henderson. This is a good running back stable. Raphael says Hampton or Burden. What kind of question is this, Raphael? Who in the hell's going to draft Burden over Hampton? Who in the hell's going to draft Luther Burden over Hampton? I mean, maybe landing spot will be so good for Burden that we can have that conversation. But right now, you're going to assume that he's going to be gifted the most glorious landing spot, and Hampton won't. Luther Burden, until draft day, makes that fairy tale come true. And I'm not saying that it's not possible that Luther Burden's landing spot you could be given a gift from the fantasy heavens, and then Hampton doesn't get a good location. We'll address it when it comes. I'm not saying it's not impossible. But right now, if you had to draft today, you better not be even considering Luther Burden over Hampton, bro. You better not even be considering it. That would be one of the worst decisions you could make. That's so far off base, bro. I'll only tell you that because I want you to succeed. I'm not mad at you. I'm not ripping you apart. I'm being firm and aggressive so you don't go out there and make a travesty of a mistake, bro. Broncos in Hampton. Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't love it as much as the average bear, only because he loves his committees, Sean Payton. And he also, if he drafted him high enough, you'd assume they'd use him. But I don't know, man. Part of me, I love Devontae Adams in Denver. I love maybe a Scadaboo or something. And Hampton there is not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. There's a little bit of concern and worry just the way that he's been operating that room. You'd think that if he spent the capital, though, the draft capital that's high enough that is going to be required to get Hampton, that he wouldn't mess around. $50 holler. Dart before Sanders. Put it on the board. Another one. $50.
Give me $50 holler. Right there by the river, Smitty. Give me $50. Oh, yeah.
Dart before Sanders. Now, I assume you mean gets drafted before Sanders is what you're saying, right? I mean, I'm not suggesting that like you can't have it both ways, but I'm pretty sure that that's what you mean, right, Daniel? You're assuming that he gets drafted before. Is that what your board prediction is entailing? Thank you for dropping that. No one covers these players better than Smitty. Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate your kind words, my good buddy. Thanks for the donation. I like it bold, says Matto. Matto loves the donation. I think a team will draft Hampton high like the Lions did Gibbs. They could. I don't think it'll be top 12 or anything. I think it could be like 18 or beyond, maybe. The reason I say that is we're struggling to for sure slot Jeanty in. You know, but could they go like back to back? It's certainly possible. You know, somebody moves up into this like Cardinal spot. Cardinals are notorious to trade down, and at 16 it goes Jeanty, and then you know Bengals take him Hampton at 18. Don't be surprised, and this happens every year. Don't be surprised if one of Hampton or Jeanty goes to a spot we're not really in love with. You know, like the Bengals, which we'd love it for Hampton probably, but then it kicks, you know, Chase Brown right in the sack. You know, or what if the Falcons did something wild in the second round and took Scadaboo? And the other thing that's like scary is that the deeper these guys fall, the more likely a team is to take a gamble like that, right? You're not going to take Hampton if you're the Falcons at 15, but if you're the Falcons in the second round and they sit there and they go, let's take Henderson, you never know. So you're never safe, and we always get so pumped up and we get so amped up that we kind of feel like we're invincible right now with these landing spots. You know, doesn't everybody kind of feel that way? Like, I'll be all right. And then when it happens, we're like, no! Why did I wish for this day to come? Why? When Charbonnet got drafted to the Seahawks and we loved Walker and Charbonnet near equally, that was like one of those things where I'm like, if I could just dial back the clock and not have the draft come yet, then I lived in a world where Charbonnet was going to get drafted to start as a rookie. So my point is don't hold on to the fact that these guys can't go to bad spots. They can ruin our lives. So we'll see. All right, dial in to the show here. Let's have a discussion around Ashton Jeanty. Again, final summary here is this. I don't think for a second that it's not possible that the Cowboys go with a second-round running back. For sure. They got a lot of things they got to do. But don't believe the reports that say that they're not likely to draft Jeanty. There's nothing that I can find or feel comfortable with, even when I find it, that suggests that that's true. The only thing that people are using, if you ask me, to come to these conclusions is the setup of top 30 visits. There was a report that the feeling was at the combine that was the way the Cowboys were leaning. But says who? Where's the source? Who did Jerry say, I don't think we're drafting an RB? Or did somebody, personnel, head of operations, who was it that said something probably smoke screen related, like, well, are you going after Jeanty at 12? And he's thinking in his mind, God, Jerry's going to kill me. What do I say here? We got a lot of holes to fill, and this running back class is deep. I don't know about you, but if someone asked me, and I'm sitting at 12, and it's my team, and I'm a decision maker, and I say here in front of somebody who's asking me about my plan of attack, and I'm sitting there going, I don't know if Jeanty's going to fall to 12. I don't know about you, but this is me. And somebody says, are you going to take Jeanty at 12? And I'm thinking, good God, yeah, I'm with damn straight if he falls. The last thing I'm going to do is say, yeah, if he's there, we're taking him. Why would anybody say that? So, of course, you're going to be like, think about it if you're talking to somebody via trade right now in fantasy. if someone were to approach me, the approach I would deploy would be, there's a lot of good running backs I could take in round 2. I think I'm going after a wide receiver when I'm not. I'm taking Jeanty. And if I think Jeanty might not fall to me, let's say you're drafting 2 overall in a super flex. You want Jeanty, you've got the 2 pick. The guy in front of you says, are you taking Jeanty if I don't take him? The last thing I'm going to do is tell the guy drafting at 1, Jeanty falls, I'm snagging him, so hopefully you take a quarterback. The thing I'm telling him is, man, I don't know, Ward really excites me, so that I can try and urge him to draft Ward. Would anybody do anything different? Raise your hand if you would do something. Raise your hand if you would actually tell the person drafting 1, I kind of want Jeanty, yeah. Hopefully you let him fall, Steve. Who is not saying, I really like the wide receivers and Ward? I'd probably say the whole thing. I'd be like, Tyler Warren looks pretty good. You look, I don't know, there's a number 1 wide receiver here, I think, in this class. And honestly, Cam Ward's there. I'm just not sure if I'd take Sanders or Ward. I'm not sure. Bed Bath & Beyond, I don't know if I'd have time. You got to be out of your minds. Jeanty, not the Cowboys have already telegraphed their decision. Get out of here. Travis, you're live.
Hey, with the Cowboys, I don't buy those reports, but I also don't put it past the Cowboys not to do that, not to take Jeanty, like you said.
Yeah.
Just because Jerry is so unpredictable. I could easily see him in his mind going, well, we'll draft a running back, but what's wrong with Dowdle? He was over 1,000 yards. Look how good he did. When 2/3 of his yards, or a little less than half of his yards were in a 4-game stretch against crappy teams. So it's you don't truly know what he is, but nope. Jerry might think so. So I could see that. And then just on Jeanty quick, I think there's a chance that that he obviously there's a chance he goes top 10, but I think more teams may be willing to take him in that top 10, top 12, because very quickly he's going to be the best player available when you're talking about just skill. I know he's a running back and some teams won't take him for that, but in a draft like this where there aren't those truly elite guys, he's very quickly going to be at the top of teams' boards in terms of best player available.
Yeah. And like I said from the top, just to make it abundantly clear, because I know some, keyboard warrior is going to come back later and say, Smitty, I thought the Cowboys were taking Jeanty. I never once said that in this live stream. Never once in this live stream did I say the Cowboys are taking Ashton Jeanty. I just don't buy that somebody has on good authority that they're not. Therefore, they're still in waiver mode. And and as I said, the fact that Jerry Jones didn't even call Derrick Henry, who said, I'd love to play for you. My number 1 landing spot is the Dallas Cowboys. Even after he was already killing it and doing well for the Baltimore Ravens, he slipped up in an interview and they're like, did you want to go to Dallas? He's like, yeah, Dallas was my number 1 landing spot. And then he was like, this ended up being the best spot. Yeah, I love it here. He even admitted it. So as I said from the jump, Jerry didn't even call him. Didn't even call Derrick Henry. So of course I don't put it past him to screw up on draft day. But even Jerry's not so dumb that he's going to go out and say, yeah, that 12 pick, in case anybody wants it, we're not taking Jeanty. Let me ruin some of the trade allure because someone might be saying he's taking Jeanty. Let's trade up and get it from him. Oh, they're not taking Jeanty? Then let's not call him about it. Who's going to do that? Even Jerry's smarter than that, even though he's not that smart. But again, we don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. And there is a good plan of attack where taking one of these other running backs that are phenomenal. I don't think you get Hampton, but Scatterboo, Judkins, Henderson. You probably still can land one of these. And if they bring back Dowdle on a hometown discount before the NFL draft, that will be a somewhat of an indication that they're not going after Jeanty at 12. So that's what we're waiting for, more than this trust me bro stuff that's out there right now. But the thing that irks me the most about the trust me bro, the Cowboys not likely to take Jeanty, is that people are already buttoning up the content around it. They're like, okay, like this report from NBC Sports, the paragraph I didn't clip with it, said that fantasy owners better start looking elsewhere or expecting another running back to be in Dallas or whatever. It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Because this guy said it? Because this guy said it doesn't sound like the Cowboys view running back as a top priority? Who's coming up with this? Can we get some sort of, where's it coming from? And I'll admit I haven't dug to the roots of the entire thing, and I admit that up front. But like this report coming from NBC, other reports coming from that report, no one's sourcing any of it, and no one's suggesting where it's coming from or what is it that exactly was said. The only thing you can assume is it's because they didn't schedule a top 30 visit with Jeanty. But why would you telegraph that if you didn't need to? Jeanty's already said my top spot is the Dallas Cowboys. Hey, Jeanty, where's the best spot you can envision going? Where do you want to go? What's your dream landing spot? And he goes, Dallas Cowboys. Love to play for the Dallas Cowboys. They already know they don't need to schedule the top 30 visit. They can use that on somebody else because they're still going to have a conversation with them. They're still going to meet with them. Yep. He can still go work out at the Dallas event. He can still at the Boise State Pro Day. He's still going to work out there. They can talk to him there. They don't need to invite him if they can save that visit for somebody else. People are out of their minds.
Yeah, no point.
But it doesn't mean they're drafting him. It just means I don't buy the report. And if when I will buy the concept, because I still won't buy the report, just because it ends up being right, it's a percentage chance of working out because they may not take him. It's one guy. The percentage chance of them taking Jeanty, it's not at like a total like home run, bet to make. But the thing that will make me believe that they are looking in another direction is if they bring Dowdle back on a discount. And that could happen. That could happen. And if that happens, then we do have to prepare. But that will be the reason that we go in another direction looking, not because somebody's trying to make news and a splash. It's wild to me. Real quickly, hold on, Travis. Let me get Gump. Gump, what's up? You're live. I got my finger over the button.
How you doing? Darn tootin' right. You're darn tootin' right. And I mean running back tootin'. But my big question is, how many of these running backs go in the first round? I'm saying possibly 5. Is that possible?
Finish him.
And how many do I look at when I draft my fantasy team? Do I grab 3 or 2?
Gump, when's the last time 5 running backs went in the first round of the NFL draft, Gump?
Pretty big class this
2
year,
or 3 at
Smitty.
most.
Pretty big class.
They'll probably go later.
They're all good.
Gump, that was one of the worst things you said.
Shooting.
That's what
4-3 speed.
Gump. That's one of the worst things you've said on this channel. That the draft's gonna have 5 running backs go in the first round. That is, we're looking at, if we're lucky, we'll get the second. We'll get Hampton.
We're gonna get 5.
Finish him.
Maybe. Finish him.
Call terminated.
God. Go ahead, Travis. Then over to Rockout.
Yeah, I mean, for that, because there's so many guys, will probably get pushed back. But I was just gonna say that it would be a waste of a visit because, like you said, there's plenty of chances to see him anyways.
Yeah, we're lucky to get 2, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, and the other thing I was gonna say real quick was it's actually a good lesson for people in fantasy, especially dynasty, but anytime you're trading, you get people a lot of times saying, oh, well, let me know what you're thinking. Like, just be honest. We'll be honest with each other. We can help each other out and never trust anyone, even if it's your best friend when you're trading in fantasy, because I'm not saying they're going to like purposefully try to screw you, but a lot of people will. But they're never going to tell the truth. Like you said, it'd be foolish to let on exactly what your plans are. So it's a good thing to remember when you're trading and drafting in fantasy as well.
Yeah. And just so everybody knows, because I see a lot of people that have put Hampton, the reason I saw it in the beginning, I've seen it a couple times. The reason the Cowboys won't take Jeanty at 12 is because they're going to take Hampton in the second round. Hampton's not lasting to pick, 44? They pick 44. They're not. There's no way Hampton's going 44. Hampton's probably going in the top 18 to 32. So that's not going to be, unless they moved up or something. So that's a pipe
they
dream.
Could, because this is a draft a lot of teams will want to move back and get extra picks for next year and stuff like that. There's a decent chance of that. So there will be chances to move up, but like you said,
they have to move. Yeah, it's not. But if running back's not a priority, they're not moving up for a running back. Like that's what people got to understand. So you can't just try and tear this apart and then glue it back together the way you want it. Like if they don't want a running back, they're not trading up for a running back in round 1. Like the running back's not a priority. You don't trade into round 1 for a running back. If this were true, which is not true. If it were me, there's so many ways you could dominate this draft. And I'm not just an all offensive guy. People think that of me. The Sauce Gardner draft, man, I was all about getting Sauce Gardner on he was a number 2 prospect, almost number 1 overall. But if I'm trying to fix an offense or create something special and try and be as good as the Eagles, you work on D the rest of the draft. You work on D. You build the defense up every other way. But let's say I got aggressive and moved my 44 overall up to get Hampton in the mid to late first round, and you take a Ted McMillan, you take a player like that at this 12 pick if he was to fall, or you take Ashton Jeanty and you move in and get Egbuka or whatever the case may be. If you were trying to grab amazing offensive pieces, I would totally get aggressive and move up that 44 up. These running backs are super solid, and I think they'll get easily get one of these 4: Judkins, Scadaboo, probably not Hampton, Henderson at 44. Yeah. They're not going to get Hampton, but they'll get one of these guys at 44. Do I think Henderson goes ahead of 44? Maybe. I think that a couple of the running backs, if let's say Hampton doesn't go in round 1, I could see him and another going at 34, 35, 36, 36, like right in that territory. It's usually where second round running backs go, especially when day 1 ends. The first round is the first day, and then the second day, day 2, starts the beginning of round 2, and a lot of hype around the backs get, teams start looking at it differently. Okay, now we're in the second round. We're paying second round value. It's a different, money number and everything. So, yeah, is there a possibility that 3 RBs go in round 1? I think the only way that happens is if some trades happen. You know what I mean? Like if there's some aggressive trade ups, then I could see 3 going. And the higher Hampton goes, the more likely a third running back goes. The later Hampton goes, the more likely only the 2 running backs, Hampton and Jeanty, will go around 1. But certainly no one knows. When we said that Bijan and Gibbs would both go in the top 15 during their rookie draft, we were called crazy. And when I said that Bijan was a lock to go in the top 10, there's plenty of times people will come in and make fun of me. Running backs don't go in the first round anymore, Smitty. Oh, thanks for letting me know. Should I just retire now? Should I just close down the live stream and never go live again? Because clearly I obviously don't have an opinion. People are just goofy, bro. Let me go over to Marsman Rock Out real quick. Marsman Rock Out, you are live, young man.
Rock out. So what happened on the Uranus hot take board?
What?
What happened on the Uranus board?
Oh, who's on the Uranus board?
Yeah.
And off he goes.
Only Clint, who said JD5's beginner's luck one season. He wrote that after his rookie year. This wasn't like a old prediction. This was like this offseason. This was like in January.
How close is Gump?
Oh, how close is Gump? Everything Gump says could go on that board, so he doesn't really count. Otherwise, it'd be a full-time job putting all of Gump's comments on there. But we'll have some players on there soon.
And also, we think about Ricky for the 49ers, part of his role and how he'll pan out.
Yeah, we talk about this almost every night. I mean, nothing changes, man. He to me, he's a good player. I like him a lot. I liked him before the draft, but nothing changes, man. He's not He is literally going to be the fourth or fifth mouth to feed, and that's with Ayuk clawing his way back. And when Ayuk gets back, they're paying him so much money that Pearsall is going to be at best case scenario even with him in terms of target share. Ricky's got really 3 good games, but one game was in the middle of everything, and there was a bunch of mediocrity, and then his last 2 games are really good. But there was a weird week, a weird couple weeks. The Niners were doing weird things. They were taking Debo and showcasing him hardcore to trade him. It took Mason off the field, and the run game went away. I'm not as excited about Ricky Pearsall. People excited about Ricky Pearsall, overly excited about Ricky Pearsall, own Ricky Pearsall. And that's a natural thing, but they're very excited because they have him, and they need to be excited. They want to be excited. They were trying to will this thing to turn into a top 10 wide receiver, but it's not going to happen. Jennings is better, and Jennings is my bet if I'm grabbing one of these wide receivers. And with Kittle and Christian McCaffrey, even on and off, let's say McCaffrey's good and bad and off the field, whatever, the running game's still going to be really good regardless who's in there. This is not a world where 2 wide receivers are top 20 wide receivers, and Jennings is the better player. And then you've got Ayuk coming back. So, but yeah, we beat that dead horse.
And as far as Bengals, if they did get a bigger running back, like in the later round, you think they would try to go after?
I don't know. I don't think they spend a second. You never know.
No.
But I think once we get past these guys, like even if we got, I love Sampson, so if Sampson landed there, I wouldn't be too excited because I want him to go somewhere like Minnesota where he's got Aaron Jones to compete with, and then he can take the job like Bucky did, that way. But I think that by the time the Bengals draft, I assume that Jeanty, Henderson, Hampton, Scatteraboo, and Judkins will all be gone. But you never know. It's wild, and so that therefore I'm not threatened too much by a running back landing on the Bengals roster. Not to mention the person that reported that today. We talked about it earlier. That was their guess anyway. It's not even like I said, so much smoke right now. And like the report, I went live, and in my title I say, report Cowboys not likely to draft Jeanty, ... I don't buy it, because part of what I do is I come in here and I shoot things down, and they're big enough and widespread that we got to talk about it. So not everything we go live on is a report I believe. It's a report I feel obligated to talk about, though.
Yeah, and the Bengals got to worry about defense more than anything anyway.
Yeah. All right, bro. Hang tight real quick. Travis, what else you got?
Another thing with that, the top 10, top 15 picks, one kid, Will Campbell, may have just fallen out of that top 10, top 15, because there's almost no chance he gets drafted as a tackle at this point with how small, how short his arms were, how small his hands were, because I know some people will say that doesn't matter, but I was looking at different things, and I think I don't know if it was Pro Bowl or All Pro. There hasn't been a tackle with arms shorter than 33 inches in the last 25 years. So you can't take a guy like that. Yes, in 25 years, sorry, in the last 25 years.
Where do you measure? Hey, Ziggy. Where do you measure arms from?
Here's something I found on studylive.net. The arm was measured from the point of the shoulder, at the top of the head of the humerus bone, down to the end of the middle index finger.
Where?
Kind of where your shoulder blade sticks out. If you feel like where your shoulder blade is at the top.
Okay. So like right where the right here? I don't know if you can see.
Hold on, let me see if I can see it. Let's see. Yeah, around there. Like you got your collarbone, and then a little bit towards the back. You can feel like where your shoulder blade pokes up there at the top. I believe that's where they do it, from there to the tip of the middle finger.
Drum roll.
Yeah.
Drum roll. 36,
right.
35 and a half. 36, 35 and a half, 36. Yeah, 33.
Yeah, his was 32 and 5/8.
What's he, T-Rex?
He would be like, yeah, that's what they're calling him. Poor kid.
T-Rex?
He's got really small hands and for a guard or a tackle, and really short arms. Like, he'd be one of the shortest in the league.
It's got to be a
So
center.
that really hurts. Eight of 11 All-Pro tackles since 2020 had 34 inches or longer for their arms.
This is what 30.
Yeah.
This is about what 37 looks like, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Volkswagen coming at you.
Yeah, so he's. I mean, you'd have to be almost taking him as a guard, and no one's going to do that in the top 10. Maybe not even. Top
Tyler
15.
says the
So
thing
that
is, Smitty, you're
opens up
smarter
another
than
spot.
you're smarter than Jerry Jones.
Yeah, he's
Well,
got to be a guard.
thank you, Terry
That's too short.
or Tyler.
I've seen people struggle trying to overcompensate with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, regardless, that could take out, move everybody up one slot. Sure, it makes sense. As for what were we talking about before this?
Running back we got.
I don't know.
Running back, and
Yeah.
like where Dallas would be taken in the second round, 44.
Yeah. Jeanty to the moon. All right. Anything else, boys? I don't know that I'm going to draft tonight. Make sure if you want to draft Underdog, promo code Smitty. The link's in the description. I don't know if I feel like sitting through a 45-minute draft right now, but if Travis wants to drop a $50 super chat, I'll do a $25 draft, me versus him, real quickly, because that was fun and those go quick. But Travis, I'll do anytime you want to do that, I'm game. I'll take your super chat, then spend half of it on a draft with you, against you. We'll make that the criteria.
I'll do it, but not tonight. I can't.
Yeah, other than that, I don't know that I feel like sitting through a 45-minute draft. Let me go over to Gump real quick. Gump, you're live.
It's me. I'm really shaking over here. Can I get a freebie over here on Hooker or no?
Can you get a freebie on a hooker? I don't know. It's what he says to me.
What
in the hell? What kind of show do you think this is, Gump?
No,
you called the wrong number. You called the wrong number. I'm shaking. Can I get a?
Can I make a comment on Hendon Hooker?
I'm shaking, Smitty. Can I get a free? All right, Gump, go ahead. Freebie.
Well, now I'm starting to think that the Lions are really going to get Garrett with 2 first rounds. They're going to give up 2 first-round picks, and the Lions ain't going to have no first-round picks this year. And then what's going to push them over is they're going to give him Hendon Hooker.
Okay.
Put the cherry on the cake.
Thank you, Gump. Gump's got a poster of Hendon Hooker on his. You know what, Gump? You're trying to will this Hendon Hooker trade to happen, and the day that it happens, you're going to be so sad. You're like the person that's raising 8 puppies, and you're trying to sell them so bad, and you're lowering the price, and then once they go, you're going to start crying. Why are you trying to make this thing happen? Why you love Hendon Hooker?
I know. I'd rather have a 2-quarterback team.
Okay, so why don't you let it go? Why do you let it go and stop trying to will it to happen?
I want him.
And maybe just create some new content instead of calling up Shaken, needing to talk about Hooker.
I'll let it settle for a minute. I'll let the cookies settle for a minute.
Okay. Good, wise choice, man. Wise choice.
No, they're not dead. It's just about ready to get kicked off.
Okay. Anything else, Gump?
Are
you at a truck stop right now? Are you at a truck stop right now? Or are you driving?
One more thing. Baker, what round does he go in? Baker Mayfield. What
in fantasy? In fantasy football?
Yeah.
I don't know. Round 10, 12, 11, 12, 13?
10 or 12?
What?
It might be a little bit before that.
This guy. All right, let me find out. Hold on, Gump. Calm down.
Maybe
Calm down, Gump. Baker,
right.
pick 88 overall. So if I go into a draft right now, 88 puts him at. Yeah, I mean, looks like he's going. Yeah, I would say 8 to 9. 8 to 9. I was a little off, Gump. I was kind of trying to rile him up.
Yeah.
I'd say don't take him at 8. I like Baker, but that's too early. I'd say 9 to 10 is right.
I'm going to have to pull the trigger sooner than that because that's who I'm going to go for this year. Don't tell anybody, okay?
Okay, I won't tell. Gump, you can tell everybody. It won't really matter.
Competition.
All right. Are you at a truck stop right now?
Yeah, the truck, they had a problem. We had to work out there outside. We got it all set.
What are you hauling?
Night last night.
What are you hauling in the truck tonight?
Last night. I came in. Do you remember I came in empty from Denver, and then that guy went over the hill. He crashed his truck. It got slick. It got down to one lane. It was ugly last night, but there goes my truck. I ran on through, but you got to slow down a little bit. You know,
what are you
slicky.
What are you hauling tonight in the truck?
Oh no, we ain't going nowhere. That was a bad night last night. We ain't going nowhere.
Okay.
We're kissing the ground over here.
I don't know what this means. This is truck talk. This is trucker talk.
So
what? You're just gonna drive around with an empty truck? You're not hauling anything?
I ain't going nowhere. I'm parked and
Smart
I'm
business.
Steak in the
Gump.
morning. Me and the dog eating steak.
He's waiting for Hooker at the truck stop. All right, we'll see you. We'll see you later, Gump.
All right, boys.
Finish him.
Jeez, this guy, out of control. He's out of pocket, is what he is. All right, Marsman, rock out. Final thoughts.
Yeah, as far as like teams that already had a starting running back, who would pick up a Jeanty and basically flip it like the Lions did with Swift?
Miami. Well, I don't know if they flip anything, but Miami could take Jeanty. Don't be shocked if that happens, and he does a Mostert and Achane situation. Cardinals, I don't think they'll take Jeanty. They're not smart enough to take him. Even though they took Benson, I would take Jeanty. The Bengals, the Bengals, yeah, the Bears are probably likely. The Bengals, you never know. I don't think they will, but could they? I suppose. Saints got Kamara. They extended him. Could they draft him at 9? It's possible. Could the Jaguars take him because Liam Cohen wants his own running back, even though he talked highly of Etienne and Bigsby? Maybe. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping like a team that wants him so badly that's not here trades up to get him, versus like a Chicago Bears. Mm-hmm. Bears could be the Bears feel like, I would say, if there's odds, and there probably are, but like odds that I'm creating, I would say the Bears are unfortunately right up there with anybody in the odds of drafting them, and I don't want it. It's much of the same of Dunze. I didn't want a Dunze, even though Dunze could do okay in Chicago. Dunze's that's not where I wanted him. What, Travis?
Would the Raiders take him at 6, or is that too high?
If they have their quarterback situation already locked up, like Darnold or
Fields or something.
But I don't know if teams will trade down thinking he'll fall. I don't know. I think Jeanty, what's going to happen is, keep in mind, like right now, Jeanty didn't go to the Combine. He's going to have his Boise State Pro Day. As soon as the buzz starts getting kicked into high gear again, the Jeanty at 6, the Jeanty at 9, the Jeanty going inside the top 10 talk is going to kick back into gear. Because right now, like, what can you do? Hampton was exciting. His pro day was very good, so he's going to be talked about a lot. But people are going to swing back around and talking about Jeanty again. Don't worry. All right, boys, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.
I was just gonna ask real quick before we go. Is there any chance that because we were so spoiled last year with the quarterbacks, are we overrating these guys at all, or do you just like a Dart or a Shador or even Ward to a point? And then and finally, I was curious what you think about Will Howard. Is there anything there with him?
Didn't Howard have the worst pro day known to man?
I think he had a bad one, right?
I think he had one of the worst pro days I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
He overthrew everybody constantly. I think Howard's garbage. But I will say that I don't know that we're overrating them because the other class was better. Last year's class was just clearly better. But I think Cam Ward at the end of it, I think if you're ranking both Sanders,
My favorite one.
or you start taking Dart and you start taking Milrow and you start comparing like the 4 against the 4, then yeah, you're going to get caught in that. But I think Ward alone could easily be as good as JJM, could easily be as good as Drake May, could easily be as good, and I say this, with all honesty, as good as Penix Jr. I don't think anyone's going to ever be JD5, so that alone makes that class, not something you can compare. Right. But Cam Ward with Dable and Neighbors could easily be as good as any other non-JD5 quarterback. So I think in the right spot, one of these guys will be very good. Sanders is the one that I think needs the exact right landing spot, or I could easily see myself jumping off the train really quickly. He just needs a lot. But and Milrow's exciting. He's got that AR5 potential, and I think just because AR5 failed, Milrow's a better passer. Everyone's got to calm down on expecting everything to always be rinse and repeat the same. Oh, just because AR5 failed, no. So everything's different. Every situation's, standalone different. You can't just say, oh, Marvin Harrison, failed as a top 15, 14 overall pick. I'm not taking Jeanty at 12. Not doing it. Not getting tricked again. It's nothing to do with last year. So you got to set that aside. But I love Ward. I love Ward. I think if Cam Ward gets Neighbors and Dable, he's as good as any quarterback. Potentially as good as any quarterback in last year's class, but JD5.
Yeah, he's my favorite Ward.
But I love Penix Jr. I just want to make that abundantly clear. But I'm just saying that Ward's got an unbiased take. Ward with that situation. Now, if Ward goes to Tennessee, I want Drake May over him, fantasy-wise and NFL quarterback-wise. I want Penix Jr. over him. I might even sick nasties here. I might even want J.J. McCarthy. Tennessee, I want nothing to do with. Now, you put Cam Ward in Cleveland. I love him there. You put him in LV, love him there. Tennessee, and I'm not saying he can't develop in Tennessee if he gets the right weapons, but initially, I don't want anything to do with that rookie year. Maybe in his sophomore year, his third year, I might get back on board and say, I like Cam Ward a lot. But Tennessee, what's he gonna do in Tennessee? He's gonna make mistakes. He's gonna look a lot more green in Tennessee, a lot more green. Put him in Cleveland, put him in LV, put him especially in New York. Either New York is perfect for Cam Ward.
I'm starting to think there might be some legs to the Giants getting up to that pick and taking them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I really like.
I mean, we're the first. We're the first.
So well.
We're the first, I think, to really hammer home on that. As I said a handful of nights ago, I have a weird, sneaky suspicion that the Giants were going to get aggressive. And we're going to hear about it, and lo and behold, yesterday, we're hearing more and more about, especially earlier today, Giants are expected to trade up. But yeah, I mean, that's what we want. Cam Ward, Neighbors, Dable, they're going to be amazing.
It makes sense. It makes sense for the Titans too, because if they're not in love with Ward, they only have to drop back 2 spots, because I'm sure it'll be a pick swap. So
yeah. All right. See you boys tomorrow.
Yep.
Later, Rock out.
Later, Smitty. Bye.
All right. I'm out of here. Appreciate you all. If you want to draft tonight, use code Smitty. Link in description. Link in live chat pinned. Code Smitty will get you a match of 50% all the way up to $1,000 and a free pick in your account. Let's will it to happen. Ward to the Giants. Let's will it to happen. We need Neighbors and Ward together. Jeanty to Dallas, or Jeanty to LV, or Jeanty to Cleveland, or Jeanty to a team not on here that trades up aggressively to get to him. And then Chicago, he'll live in Chicago. He'll survive in Chicago. It's just that's a bad organization with a bad offensive line. And if they use the pick on Jeanty, they're not bettering their offensive line. So yards per carry will be lower. Everything will be harder. It's just a longer struggle. It's like saying taking somebody that is so capable that they're probably going to be a great person, a successful person in any environment. Or if you take a CEO that's the best CEO in the world, you stick him in a really bad spot with so many problems and no money and no P&L and no employees and bad area and of town where his product sells, and like, will he eventually get the business booming? Yeah, but you want that CEO that you're planting somewhere to have the best foundation so we can jump from the start. And Cleveland, or I keep calling Cleveland and Chicago. I don't know why I'm doing that lately. Chicago just doesn't have as much of the building blocks, even though people think they do. Remember, it's the best spot a rookie quarterback's ever been handed. The crazy part is I would laugh at that when it was said, and I'd say, we'll look back. Washington is the best spot a quarterback was handed. And I said that from Jump Street. Jeanty would feast with Baltimore. What in the hell are you talking about, bro? Drew? Baltimore. What do you want him to do? Sit in the wings for 2 years? Come on, bro. But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's
Hey Chan. Hey Chan is the man. His haters call.
Henry's getting old, says Drew. Drew, it doesn't matter. He's not going anywhere. Even if he starts slowing down, he's still not going anywhere for a couple years, or at least a year and a half before something like that would. Like, you're gonna sit Jeanty on the. What are you talking about, bro? No. Are you a Raven fan or something? Like, where's this coming from, bro? No. The answer is no. The answer is no. Read the room. And I know you're not talking about Caleb, Matt. Best rookie QB with no offensive line. Matt, I know you're not talking about Caleb, bro. Hey, Drew, maybe the Cincinnati Bengals should go get Cam Ward. What are we doing back there? Bro, what are we doing back there?